The great debate rages on. I hear this quite often from people. What do I do? Should I pay off debt first and then invest? Should I invest and pay off debt? If so, is there a ratio? Is there a certain percentage I should follow? The reality is the answer is a little bit gray and depends completely on your situation. But let me give you some really clear guidelines so that you can move forward with confidence and know exactly what's best for you. If you find yourself in a more dire situation, that debt keeps you up at night, you're working every month and every dollar goes to it and you're stressed out and you can't stop thinking about it because you have high interest consumer debt. I'm talking 12% or higher, 10% or higher. Student loans probably don't fall into that. Car loans probably don't fall into that. I'm talking about credit cards. Maybe you've got a car loan that was really bad because you had poor credit. Maybe you've got a lawyer's bill. Maybe you've got a high interest business loan. Things that are just really chewing away at your capital and they're keeping you up, causing you a lot of stress. If you find yourself in that camp, then pay off your debt. Pay it off as fast as you can. Sell some stuff. Make more money. Do a side hustle. Cut your cost of living. Live with somebody if you have to. Get a roommate. Whatever you need to do, pay that off as fast as you can. Because forget about all the investment opportunities. If you're consumed with fear and you're consumed with stress and that's all you can think about is that debt over your head, you're going to miss opportunities. A great opportunity is going to present itself and you're not going to see it because you're too stressed. You're too focused on, I just got to make it through the next day, the next week. If you find yourself in that camp, pay off your debt entirely and then focus on investments. And that's the easy answer. You hear that a lot on all these shows, these talk shows, these books, but it's not so easy because most people don't fall into that camp. Yes, there are people who are in that camp, and I think the answer is pretty straightforward. But if you find yourself in a camp more like the rest of people, maybe you've got 1 or 2 car loans, maybe you've got a mortgage, a little bit of line of credit debt, maybe your home equity line of credit, and maybe you've got a little bit of student loans. Well, a lot of those things are multi-year or very long-term lower interest payments. And debt has probably become very accustomed to your way of life. If that's the case, and it doesn't cause you a lot of stress, and it's just become kind of the budget, then what I recommend is you pay down debt and you invest at the same time. The only caveat to this is if you have 12 months or less of debt, whether that be a car loan that's outstanding or your student loan, then I recommend you plow everything you can into it, pay it off. If you're in the bulk of this percentage with most people where you've got ongoing debt and it's just kind of the life, groceries cost $500-700 a month, debt costs $500-700 a month, and you just service it and it's just become a payment that you're used to having. If that's the case, then I really recommend investing and paying off debt at the same time. I also advocate that you should try to make more money and reduce your cost of living. And take that extra capital and split it evenly between debt and investments. And this isn't as traditional as some of the advice out there, but the reason is twofold. When you pay off debt, there's a small sense of gratification, there's a small sense of pride and accomplishment, but it's nowhere near when you move towards what you want, when you move towards buying an asset, when you move towards owning a stock, when you move towards wealth creation, your whole energy gets behind it. Your whole momentum gets behind it. And what I find with every single person that I've ever seen do this is they become more committed. When you're paying off debt, it's almost like a rain cloud over your head. And it's just like, man, I just gotta make it through this month. I just gotta pay my debt. I just got 5 more years to pay my debt. That is uninspiring. That's like getting punched in the face every month, again and again and again. Yeah, it makes you a tougher individual, but you just want to stop the beating. So I highly recommend you invest and pay off debt. One, because of the psychology, that momentum, that independence, that freedom you're going to feel, that sense of accomplishment when you start to see the dollars add up in your account, even if it's just in a high yield savings account, which nowadays is a no interest savings account, let's be honest. But you see that money and it's like, holy crap, it started off as $200-300. Now it's $2,000-3,000. Now it's $8,000 or $9,000. Like, that's a significant sum. That's something I can do with. When you start to feel that, you want to feed into it more. And I find most people then are more conscious about their decisions. You know what, maybe we're not going to eat out tonight. Let's make dinner at home. You know what, let's do a staycation instead of that elaborate vacation. Let's not buy a new car. Let's just wait a year. Because once you start to see that wealth accumulate, it's momentum. It's no different than losing weight. It's no different at all. When you start to lose weight, if you've got a big journey, or maybe you want to increase your fitness, you want to run a marathon, that's a big goal. You want to lose 50 pounds, you want to run a marathon. Either one of those goals can't be accomplished most likely overnight or even in the next 30 days. So when you start to take strides and measurable steps towards achieving that, you build momentum. You start to get encouraged. If it's a weight loss goal, you start to see the pounds come off, you build self-confidence and you build, self-esteem that way, and also good habits. You build self-control. You don't want to eat the crap. You're like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm going to pass. Because that sense of pride, that accomplishment you feel, you want to keep that going. It's a drug that's addicting, that dopamine rush. The same is true with wealth. I know because I've been there. There was a time not too long ago, maybe 6-7 years ago, I was negative $94,000 with no income. Lost my business, out of my ass, not a clue what to do. My wife had just gone back to school, so her career was done. We had no income and we were renovating a house at the same time. I could not see the next month. And we stuck it out, paid all of it off inside of 3 years, just every single month, every single month, every single month. And it wasn't $94,000 when we paid it off because we were paying interest. It's probably closer to $110,000, $120,000. And every month for 3 years we paid it off. We paid it off. We paid it off. We knew every dollar where it was going. But it was hard. It was unmotivating. It became inspiring towards the end when I could see the finish line. When it was like, hey, we've got 6 payments left. We've got 4 payments. We've got 2 payments. Then I started to build momentum. But even through that journey, I still paid myself and I still invested. It wasn't nearly the same. I was paying off almost $3,500 a month onto debt and I was investing $200 to $500. But I felt that sense of pride. I felt that account grow. I could see the money and I was like, I want more of this. So I'm going to sacrifice eating out. I'm going to sacrifice buying the new clothes or the newest gadget. So if you find yourself in that camp, I strongly recommend paying off debt and investing. The second reason is one that most people don't talk about, and that's opportunity cost. You see, the stock market doesn't have a static price. That price goes up and down, up and down, up and down. But if you're in it long enough and you look at the trends, you pull a stock market chart, I dare you, go Google a stock market chart over 20 years, 40 years, 80 years, 100 years. And it constantly moves in the way of appreciation. It outperforms real estate, it outperforms bonds, it outperforms precious metals, it outperforms cash, it outperforms almost anything aside from owning a business, which is a whole nother set of circumstances. So having your money work for you in the market works 24/7, 365. You don't have to manage the company. And when you have that chance to be part of the market, when you're investing in a company you love, again, you're further committed. You invest in a company and now you want to know more about it. Maybe you love Apple. You've got an iPad, you've got an iPod, you've got an Apple phone, you've got an iPhone, you've got a MacBook Pro. You love the products. So you buy Apple the stock. Well, my bet is now you start to research the company a little bit more. The next time you go to the mall, you look at the store a little bit differently. You judge the staff just a little bit differently. How did they treat me? Because I'm a shareholder now. I'm not just a customer. And you feel a sense of pride when they do a good job because you're like, that's my investment. That's what I own. I own a brick in this building. That's me. And that opportunity cost of share prices rising, of you being committed and going through the motions cannot be overstated because it is so understated. Nobody talks about it. On paper, it's easy to run the math and say, well, in this situation, you should pay off your debt. But what they don't talk about is that opportunity cost, that momentum. Let's say that it takes you 6 or 12, probably even longer, months to really get up to speed and know how to work the mechanics of an options trading account. Maybe you do a discount brokerage account and you're just buying and selling shares, not really doing any options, but you're starting to read charts, you're starting to read up on companies, financial statements, listening to earnings calls. That's going to take 6, 12, 18, 24 months to get used to. It's a new habit that you're flexing. And depending on the amount of time you have, will depend on how long it takes. But if you wait until your debt is paid off and then you start investing, you've missed out on that likely 1 or 2 years of momentum, where you could be riding the wave of momentum, which then just further encourages you to pay off your debt even further. You'd be surprised at where you find money. You'd be surprised at how creative you get. You'd be surprised. You see opportunities in a much different way now. So for most people out there, I believe it's twofold. Invest and pay off debt. You'll be glad you did.